Hey everybody, welcome back to another action-packed, exciting episode of Scotty's Record Shop. Before we get into the matter at hand, as always, I'd like to say welcome to all of our new subscribers. We got a couple more. That's wonderful. As I always say every single week, every single video, each and every one of you is greatly appreciated by the old man. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I sincerely mean that. Okay, subject at hand. Ranking the George Harrison studio albums. This is kind of not going to be overly controversial. I think most people feel the same way. There may be a few things in there that make you go, "What was he thinking?" But overall, I think it's not that controversial. Um, Before I get into that, no live albums, no compilations. We do have a new compilation coming out. Well, actually, it's an old compilation that's going to be put out on vinyl. What's your opinion on that? I mean, I sometimes I sound very pessimistic. I don't mean to, but I don't understand the point of it. But I mean, I guess if you want it on vinyl, talking about Let It Roll. If you want it on vinyl, then I guess so. There's nothing new about it from what I understand. It's a good compilation, so whatever. I don't see the point of it. But anyway, no live, no comps. Uh, the first two sort of experimental albums, Electric Sounds and Wonderwall, aren't going to be listed here. I do have them back there, and I honestly, and given me being in the right mood, I don't mind Wonderwall that much. I really don't. I think it's interesting, you know. Anyway, let's get right into it. And by the way, let me know what you think in the comments. What are your favorite, least favorites? Did I blow it with this? I don't think I will. But anyway, the one that's at the bottom, I think for most everybody, and I don't want to say it's unfair, but it's got some decent songs on it. Of course, we're talking about Gon Troppo. There's some good stuff on here, but I went back and recently listened to this. I bought this when it came out, and it was like, and we're going to get to actually the next album without giving it away. I wasn't even sure why I was going to buy this album, but I did, and it was like, oh. But as time went on, there's a few tracks on here that I've learned, I've grown to appreciate. But it's he did no promotion for this. He didn't care about this. It appears that way, and it sank without a trace. But it has some worthwhile. It's an okay listen. You know, he was just more into movies and other things in his family life and stuff at the time. I get it. I don't blame him. Okay, next in line. Some people rate this higher. I went back recently and tried to listen to this again to see if I've got it wrong. It doesn't connect with me. I'm talking about Somewhere in England, and like I said, I bought this as well when it came out, and I thought, oh man, you've got all those years ago, which I absolutely loved, made it to number two. Oh, should have been a number one song here in America. Made it to number two, and I thought after hearing that over and over again, this is going to be just a great album, and it just my first listen was, was, I just didn't get it, I guess, or something. It just seemed kind of uninspired. And I know that there's a different version of this with different songs that George, this isn't the original album that he presented to his record company. His record company rejected his music. Just really stupid. From what I understand, the version that he wanted initially out was better than this. And I hope so. I bought this and I was just disappointed. All those years ago, there's a couple of really, really, really good songs on this album. Again, this is an issue with the bottom tier of the George stuff for me. There's a couple of really, really super great songs, and then the rest of it's just kind of bland for me. I guess I don't know, but anyway, Somewhere in England. Okay. Next one, a lot of people put right at the bottom or close to it. I I don't know how I feel about this. Extra texture. I love the jacket, the cutout and stuff. It's great. There's a couple used great. This guitar can't keep from crying. Those are the songs that people really really talk about when they talk about this album. There's a couple more really good songs on here. Again, though, um, it just I don't know. It's just I felt that George could do better than this. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Continuing on, this one gets rated higher by a lot of people. And again, I'm not saying this is a horribly bad album. I just really, again, three or four unbelievably great songs. Well, I'm talking about George Harrison, 1979, self-titled. Blow Away is just, again, sucked me right into this. Just like all those years ago. When I heard Blow Away on the radio, bought the single, played that a bit, and then thought, well, gonna just do it. And the album before this, 33 and a Third, which will be up higher on the list, I was really impressed with. I liked that album. I thought it was a return to form for George. It was a lighter album after the intensity of his kind of religious, his spiritual stuff, and some of his other downer kind of, not the religious stuff is downer, but you know what I mean? Some of his other stuff, some of his albums were just kind of heavy. Again, I'm broken record, but a handful of excellent songs on this. You know, the rest of it is okay. It's listenable. It's pleasant. I get why people put this higher. I just expect more from George, I guess. I don't know. Not a bad album, though. I mean, this is not an album. If somebody put this on, I wouldn't walk out of the room. And I do listen to this. I mean, now we're getting to the point where this is an album that I will listen to from time to time. If you go way back to, you go back to Gone Troppo, I don't listen to this anymore. I listened to it recently again for this, and it was like, okay, there's a reason I don't listen to this very often. This one I will listen to occasionally. So it's not horrible, it's just for me. An album that people put lower, but for some reason I like this. Dark Horse. Now, he was going through one of the worst times of his life. His voice was shot. Some of the writing on this is pretty dark. I think this is a fairly okay album. I mean, maybe it was where I was. I didn't buy this when it first came out in '74. I was 8. But in the late '70s, when I got my hands on this, I didn't know the whole backstory about marriages breaking up, increased drug and alcohol abuse. I just thought, I mean, you got other people with raspy voices. You had Rod Stewart. No one's complaining about Rod. Not that his voice was as raspy as that, but I just thought, okay, it's just a different thing for George. I didn't look at it like it was a bad thing at the time, and I still don't. Dark Horse is a great song. Kind of sad once you know the story behind it, but it's a great George song, and the album's not bad. I wished I would have gotten a chance to see him on this tour. Like a lot of people, I wished I would have gotten a chance to see him, period. But got to see 2 out of the 4 of the Beatles. That's all I'm going to get. But Dark Horse from 1974. Now we're getting to the albums that I dig. I dig all the way through. Some better than others. We have... let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums. I'm still torn between these two. Making last minute decisions here. I'm going to do this. It's tough. Brainwashed. just listening to this the other day after years and years and years of just it being in the CDs, and just I hadn't listened to it for a long time. Really like this album. We had discussed during the John Lennon ranking, which you can find on my channel, from a couple weeks ago, I think, right? Posthumous albums don't always go over well. And with Milk and Honey with John, I said how I felt about it in that video. It wasn't horrible, but this one I mentioned in that video too, because George was in the process of dying during this, which was very sad. Even though this is not a horribly sad album, but he left specific instructions with his son and with Jeff Lynne on how he wanted this to be finished. So we can look at this and know that this would have been absolutely approved by George. And I think he would have been incredibly proud of how this came out. This is a really, really, really good, Any Road is an excellent song. Should have been a huge hit. Should have been a huge hit. Just going through here, even the song Brainwashed at the end, the one thing that I had forgotten about that I found very touching when I listened to it was the ending of Brainwashed at the end of this album, where the last couple of minutes is Indian music with George just, I don't know if it's chanting or something, he's just saying words and stuff. I found that so fitting because that was George. George wasn't just a rock and roll legend. George was a very spiritual individual, and he tried his best to have it come out in his music. And for the last notes to ring out on his last album to be the music that he truly loved, actually more than rock and roll, was very touching. And just a really just a well done album. If you've not heard Brainwash because it's like posthumous, blah 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 blah, do yourself a favor and stream this. Okay? Brainwashed. Next one, I like more and more as the years go on. I liked it when it first came out. Well, I got it a couple years after it first came out. I had the two singles from this album, Crackerbox Palace and this song. And I really dug those songs. A couple years when I went by, late 70s, I got 33 and a Third. And I just really dug this album. He seems more relaxed. He seems, I know that he had gotten together with his wife. At the time, he was finally in a stable relationship. The drugs and alcohol had kind of chilled out. His life was in order, and I think that it really shows on this. It's just more relaxed. It's just a damn good album. I don't know how else to say it. If you've never heard 33 and a Third, I really dig it. And again, I think that it's one you should definitely check out, from 1976. You could tell by the artwork. He's got that kind of it's just kind of cool. I just dig this album so much. Alrighty, three more. We're getting into the ones that everybody knows that's I can't speak English, that are at the top. This album just Cloud9. The first single from this, Got My Mind Set on You. At first, I kind of really didn't like it. I thought it was overly poppy. What sold this for me was When We Were Fab. And I thought, oh, okay, this is, because remember, we're coming off of several years after Gone Troppo, and I was just like, okay, we got another George album. First single is okay. Getting a lot of airplay, but finally I broke down and I bought this, and I thought, you know what? I'm glad I did, because this is a great album. I'm not a huge Jeff Lynne production, especially this time period. I don't know. It doesn't work necessarily for me. I know I'm going to say something incredibly sacrilegious here. Please forgive me. I'm not a big fan of the Traveling Wilburys. I don't know. But really like this album, and got my mind set on you. Really has grown on me. Just a very good, solid comeback, and this truly was a comeback for George, and a well-deserved comeback. I do say so myself. Okay, 2-1. Great album, really. Um, thing about this, the only thing that kind of brings this a little bit down for me, I think at times side 2 starts to slag a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that there are bad songs on here, but there are just amazing songs on here. And side 2 kind of peters out a little bit. Still good stuff, and there's some great stuff on side 2 as well. Living in the Material World was hailed as when it came out, although I was like 8, or whatever I was, 7, 8. I remember the single, and trying to think if FM radio around here was playing anything off of this other than the single. I don't think they were. They may have played Living in the Material World, another great song, off of this. But when I went through my late 70s, when I started really getting into buying albums, when I got this and listened to it all the way through, it was still like, this is a sensational album. So number 2 for me, Living in the Material World. All right, yeah, you know what number 1 is. Of course you do. Everybody's friggin' number 1. It has to be. But I will say something about this album that the positive is that this is an amazing album. This is George's best work. The first 2 discs are George at his peak. Just there's nothing. The first 2 albums of this are perfect. Perfect. And if George never made another album, it'd be okay. I mean, I'm glad he made other albums, but this set his legacy. As you know, everybody was like, mid 60s Beatles. George is the quiet one. They kind of help him along. Every once in a while, Paul has to finish a guitar solo because George he's incompetent. Yeah. And then George puts this out, which was basically this. To everybody who ever doubted him. Again, the only downfall from this is the 3rd album. I think it just didn't need to be. It's okay. I find myself listening to disc 1 and disc 2, and most of the time not worrying that much about disc 3. I think it could have been left off, would have saved on this, because this was an extremely expensive album when it came out in 1970, end of 1970. And it still sold like hotcakes. Of course, you've got My Sweet Lord, which was the number 1 hit here in America, which pushed it. Just so many wah-wah, just so many. The Art of Dying. Isn't it a pity? What is life? Just really, what can I really say? Any more than I've already said? I've already said too much. Best album George ever made. You know it. I know it. We all know it. There it is. Okay? There's my ranking of the late, great George Harrison. Let me know again what you think. What's your favorite George album? Probably going to be. I'd be surprised if your favorite album is Gone Troppo. Hey, if it is, good for you. Or Somewhere in England. I know people that love that album. It's okay. It's great. Your opinion isn't only appreciated, it's welcomed here. Okay? Another thing that's welcomed here is your likes, your subscribing to the channel. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a great deal to the old man. Like, share with people. Let them know that I am here. In the big, expansive world of YouTube, there's so many people making videos. I'm just one of a billion people making videos, and I'm really trying hard to grow this channel. So any help that you can give me, even if it's as simple as liking and subscribing or telling your friend, would be greatly appreciated. Alrighty? Alrighty. Until next time, everybody. Peace and love.